College Football Update with your host, Sean Spencer and Alex Loosemore.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to College Football Update. That's my guy, Alex Loosemore. It's your boy, Sean Spencer. Hey, look, let's go ahead and get right into it. Like we talked about, there was a number of great games this weekend. A lot of things that happened that we kind of expected, and a couple things that we didn't expect to happen. Hey, look, we'll go right to you. I mean, obviously, we're going to touch on another story that is dominating the news, but let's talk about what they should be focused on, and that's Michigan getting the W, getting a win in a game that you at the beginning of the year said this could be the game that we slip up. But you know what? From what it looked like, y'all handle your business.
Yeah, it was a very solid win. Crazy to think that your last pass in the game was like 7.5 minutes left in the second quarter.
Yeah.
Something like 30, 35 straight run plays after that to end the game. The defense was suffocating so bad they fired their offensive coordinator.
Wow.
Yeah, it was solid. It was everything I wanted it to be. I was nervous about Sherrone Moore going into the game. He was very good. He called a very good game. I was very happy with him.
Yeah.
And, let's just rack up win number 999.
And obviously, he doesn't know how and when to say certain words. And when the mic is hot, I was like, bro, I feel your excitement. But the things you were saying, I was like, Sherrone, come on, brother. You know, their team's looking at you to see if you could coach and have an interview like this. And you going to say, I effing love you, coach. I love you.
Yeah.
But, yo, I mean, I get the emotion. I get that.
Yeah.
That was the game. You're in Penn State. They are hungry. They want to get a W. And you guys just, I mean, the score obviously was, 14-9.5. But y'all were dominating. Yeah. Y'all were shutting down that offense. And like you said, JJ didn't have one of his normal games. I mean, if you look at the stat sheet, JJ only had 60 yards in the air. But that's because if you have to run the ball and it's working, then you keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, and just to touch on that, the emotion and all that, not only was it a big-time game and essentially an interview for Sherrone Moore to all these other teams.
Yeah.
But with how close all these guys are, to think they waited until you were on the plane to do the suspension.
Yep.
They found out by social media. It wasn't the Big Ten contacting them.
Right.
They found out first from social media. And all that other stuff that kind of dives into that. I understand it. And then but I agree with you. It was just like, dude, like this is your moment and you're adding this to it. Stop.
Yes. Like, yeah. And we'll talk about what our guys mentioning, some words, some, you know, if there wasn't already a target on the back, you know, there is definitely one, and it is getting bigger by the day.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. But
yes,
at the end of the day, there's only one other team that's had the dominance that you've had over the last several seasons, and it's Georgia. We're going to talk about them. But look, you did what I love. It's getting cold outside. It's getting a little chilly. We know our air attack is elite. Feed the beast. Over 25 carries, over 100, 50 yards?
Almost 150. Got 145.
The guy,
two touchdowns, yeah.
And I think what does it, what kind of makes it for me, especially as a running back, you get that bloody nose. You get that grit, because if we remember, you go 365 days ago, Blake was hurt. Wasn't he hurt at this point in the year? And he didn't get to ride this part out. And you start to look at some of those games. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but it's like, what if he plays in that TCU game? What if he plays down the stretch? So we'll see. We'll see. But look, let's go on to that Georgia game. And
look, my Lord.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm not betting against them. They cruise to a victory against Ole Miss was ranked 10th coming into this game. This was supposed to be a contest, Alex. What in the world? Is Georgia just that good? Like, can we just, what are we doing, man?
Yeah, they're that good. Ole Miss is a very good football team. That is a top 10 football program. That is a phenomenal team. And you looked at it, it was just their defense couldn't stop a nosebleed.
Yep.
Georgia did whatever they wanted to offensively, and they just moved at will. Like, they just, whatever they wanted to do, they did it. Ole Miss looked solid off the start. Judkins was awesome. They were moving the ball, but they couldn't keep pace.
Yeah. With Georgia, you have to take every single red zone opportunity and score. You have to score each time you get the ball. And like you said, it was, Ole Miss scored first. And then obviously Georgia comes back, and then Georgia gets up 14. And you're like, whoa, here we go. But then Judkins scores again. And you're tied at 14, like, okay, Ole Miss. But then that offense, like you said, that offense just starts taking off. And all of a sudden, it's 28-14 at the half.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie. I didn't have much faith after that. Like, I was like, Ole Miss, your offense is working. You prove that you can run the ball. You can score. You're efficient in the red zone, but you can't stop them. Like you said, they couldn't stop a nosebleed. Like, they couldn't stop anything. And maybe we're looking at it from, Ole Miss couldn't stop them. Maybe we should be saying Georgia wasn't going to be stopped. I mean, that offense is they're proving elite now. Brock Bowers is back. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, with Bowers back and how solid McConkey's been in his absence, the running game looked phenomenal. Beck is coming into form now. He's playing very, very well for a young quarterback here. Climbing his way into the top tier of quarterbacks. I'm with you though. As soon as it hit 28-14 before the half here, I was like, curtains. This one's over. Georgia getting the ball to start the second half. I was like, it's over. Lights out.
It was in the books, man. What else can you say? Like you said, Beck, 18-25, over 300 yards, 2 TDs, and even ran the ball for 30 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
Kendall Milton, who we all know about, Edwards, we all know about, some of those other backs, but Milton has been hurt. Not even 10 carries, 127 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I feel like we need Alex here to just say, this is Georgia's world, and we're all living in it right now. Because, the way they're playing.
Until somebody stops them, Yeah.
Okay, buddy. We're waiting. Counting on you. Counting on you, man.
And it's like, the fact that it's already, we're 2 weeks away, or still 2 weeks to go in the regular season, and the SEC title game's already set. It's Georgia, Bama. Yeah. Both divisions are locked in. We're set for that collision course again. Yeah. And you look at the way Alabama's playing, it should be a good game, but it's just, Georgia's so damn good right now.
I just don't. I really, when I look at the schedule, and again, we've done this all year long, and we're like, look at the schedule. Can this team do it? Can Kentucky do it? Can Ole Miss do it? Can Missouri do it? And to Missouri's credit, they gave the best effort.
They were close.
They were right there towards the end, and so you just get to the point where it's just like, all right, let's just bypass this. Let's go to the SEC championship. Let's play the best teams in the country, because apparently there is no other competition in the games that they're playing right now, man.
Yeah, you look at their last 2 games here. Georgia at Tennessee this weekend. Yeah. That nothing's happening there. And then at Georgia Tech to end the season. Rivalries, you never know, but no, it's not. No. So it's Bama and then playoffs.
Yeah, basically.
Now, here's the thing. The way the playoff bracket is shaping up, there's a very real potential, like I said a few weeks ago. If Bama beats Georgia, there's the strong potential for a playoff without an SEC team. Ooh. If you have an undefeated Big Ten team, if FSU runs the table, if Texas goes in as the Big 12 champion with 1 loss, and if Washington or Oregon wins the Pac-12, I feel like that's your 4 if Bama beats Georgia.
Yeah. Now let's stay there for just a second. Can it be done? Bama put up 49 against Kentucky. We saw what Georgia did to Kentucky. So we know one thing about Kentucky, their defense struggles. We know about the offense of Bama. Jalen Milroe has gotten better, and I'm not looking at him to torch the defense for 350 yards. I'm not looking at him to drop it in the barrel and throw some touch passes. But if he runs that rock and you start getting performances like he's been given these last couple weeks, I mean, we know that if there's any weakness for Georgia, it is potentially the run defense. Missouri was able to run on them. Kentucky got about 80 some odd yards on them, whatever. But you start seeing some of these other teams that were able to run.
Judkins ran very well on them.
Exactly. 2 rushing touchdowns in the first half. So it makes you think, I mean, if they could keep the ball on the ground, keep Georgia's offense off the field, we know what that defense is. You get a couple turnovers and all of a sudden we're talking about Bama being back on top. So
it's possible.
Yeah.
And Milroe's a good quarterback for beating Georgia. Like, if you're going to do it, you don't need the guy to throw 400 yards and 5 touchdowns and 90% completion. You need a guy that's going to control the ball, control the clock, heavy dose of the run. That's how you're going to beat Georgia this year. So, and it's that outside run game, which a quarterback, you're not running them between the tackles. So, it would be a heavy dose of Milroe, of Jace McClellan, of those kind of guys on the outside. Yeah. And that Bama defense is very good. It's not getting talked about enough. It is a very good Alabama defense. I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm still leaning Georgia, but it's going to be a good game.
Yeah. Until we see otherwise, it's still Georgia's to lose. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Bama at that point in the season. We've been very vocal about the fact that this is Saban's best year coaching, with the lack of big name, notable talent that he's had in the years past. Board. Yeah. I mean, I look at Jalen Milroe, and then I'm trying to go outside of maybe Burton at wide receiver. I'm trying to think what's the running back?
Jace McClellan. Is it McClellan?
Yeah, McClellan. Jace McClellan. Outside of that, I mean, I'm looking at that, and those are the only names that I'm really seeing right now. Now, maybe I haven't dived into Alabama like I have in previous years, but in previous years I haven't had to.
Well, yeah. Well, and I mean, typically you've got 4 NFL freshman wide receivers,
right?
And I mean, you look at it. The only other big name really offensively is J.C. Latham, the offensive tackle. Yep. And then defensively, you've got Dallas Turner, Kool-Aid McKinstry. And really, what other big names do you have on that side of the ball? Right. So, for as little big name talent as Saban has on that field, and for them to be this well, playing this well, I've been extremely harsh on Milroe. He's coming into form now. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in college football next year, but he's a solid quarterback this year at this stage in the season. This, in my opinion, this is Saban's best coaching performance.
Yeah. And to be honest, if Saban wants a shot at beating the Georgia Bulldogs in that SEC championship, he needs to take the blueprint of the majority of the game, the Missouri game. Yeah. Run the rock, and be able to connect on those passes, be able to be efficient in the red zone, win the turnover battle, things of that nature. What Missouri was able to do.
Get more than 1 or 2 stops in a game.
It's funny to say, but it's the truth, because teams can't seem to do that. They can't seem to stop them, man. Oh, my goodness. But look, speaking of Missouri, and I got to shout you out, man. I went back and I looked at the tape after Saturday's game, and you were like, I don't think this is going to be close. I was like, you know what? Nah, man, Tennessee can do it. I was wrong, folks. I was wrong. Tennessee got whooped by Missouri. Yeah. But I like this. This confirms what we've been saying. Missouri is not just a flash in the pan. They've gone toe-to-toe with the best for 2 years in a row. And now they're really starting to step up on that stage. And I love that.
Yeah, well, and you look at it last year, it was go toe to toe with these top teams. This year, it's beat a lot of these top teams.
Yes.
Like they're 8-2.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, when the rankings come out tonight, they're probably going to be the highest ranked 2-loss team.
Yeah.
This is a very good football team. And this is a team that's going to be a problem in the SEC for the next couple of years. The way they built this team, Eli Drinkwitz, he deserves to be in the running for Coach of the Year. Absolutely. The way he's built this team, the way they're playing this year. And Scott, I'm not just saying this because you're probably watching. This is a legit Mizzou program. The Tigers are balling right now.
Oh yeah, and you got a junior quarterback. I know Luther Burden is not a senior. Let me see
he's
what
a sophomore.
Cody Schrader is a senior, but we know he's played was it D2 ball where he balled out in Missouri, that area. Look, that is it. That's my guy. I mean, walk on total, like out of nowhere. And for him to have the game he had, like we'll talk about a little bit later, but what is more to me, I'm a big guy of moments. I love that moment where not only the player recognizing the coach and the fans, but those players start to really surround this guy. And at the end of this game, I don't know if you saw this, but they were interviewing Mr. Cody Schrader, and his team showed they love this man.
I don't think I've seen too many. You can point any direction, but look at his teammates. A walk-on. Kind of like getting the Josh Dobbs look from last week at the Vikings. He's getting the same. They'll lift him up. You watch us. Here we go. Imagine that dream come true for that kid.
I love that.
Chills. You see this?
Yeah.
Goosebumps. Yeah. I mean, I'm just like, come on, man. That's what movies are made for, man. That's what it is. I love that moment.
What? I mean, you know this as a guy that played as well. Those guys that just bust their tail day in and day out, give everything they've got to it. When they start to see that success, it feels so much better for everyone around because you feel for the guy that it's finally paying off.
Absolutely. And it couldn't happen to a better guy. I'm glad he's getting this opportunity. Hopefully, as we've seen his play progress, hopefully it parlays into, getting some dollars next year, playing on Sundays. Because we've seen he's a tough, hard-nosed runner. And hey, I'd have him in my backfield. I love that guy. Yeah.
And he's a guy that'll absolutely be at the Senior Bowl. And if he's not, it's a crime because he absolutely deserves to be there. And he's going to have multiple opportunities here the rest of the way and through that draft process to push himself up that board and be a big-time player in this draft.
Oh, yeah. So going on down the list, number of other games, FSU was able to pull it out over Miami 27-20. Oklahoma State, one of the teams that I hyped up, got destroyed. And Ollie Gordon didn't do jack in this daggone game. They got killed 45-3. I don't know what happened other than I rooted for them. That's all. I don't know what it is. Oregon State killed Stanford. Go ahead.
The 3 INTs for Bowman is a big part of that.
Yeah. But I watched some of that game, and I mean, it didn't even look like they were trying to give it to Ollie Gordon. I thought he was hurt at one point. And then I was like, no, he's in the backfield. He wasn't getting it. Maybe it was part of the game plan. I'm not sure.
I think part of it was they just jumped up to such a lead early that it kind of takes the running game out of question.
Yeah. Speaking of a running game and a team that's up there and needs to keep pace with some of these other teams, we got to look at Texas. Texas survives TCU. And a TCU team that we've seen, has not had the best of seasons. Quinn Ewers' return goes 22 of 33, 317 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. They also had a monster day by Xavier Worthy with 10 receptions over 100 yards.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan Brooks balled out. I mean, it was a balanced offensive game plan, and it worked. Unfortunately, they lost Brooks for the season. What is this going to do for Texas? You get Quinn Ewers back, and then you lose your workhorse in the backfield. They can't afford to slip up. So,
Yeah, it's gonna put a lot on CJ Baxter, the backup running back, who, I mean, he was solid, 18 carries, 61 yards on Saturday night, but he's gonna have to be, or he's got big shoes to fill. He's gonna have to step in and be a big time player so this offense doesn't become one dimensional.
Yeah. Yeah. So and look, hopefully Baxter can come in and pick up the slack, because like I said, they cannot afford to lose going down the stretch. And good to see Ewers back. And then we heard before the show, or you mentioned it to us that Ewers is planning on coming back this year.
Yep.
You brought up a question. What does that mean for Arch Manning?
I think he's gone. If Ewers comes back, I don't think he's going to sit 2 years.
Yeah.
And a kid that talented, I don't blame him. Especially when you had all these other schools pining for you to come play for them. Obviously, Alabama being one of them. Ole Miss was a big-time player in that. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of schools that would love to have Arch Manning. I think if Ewers comes back, I think Arch is gone.
Wow. And that, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. You know that these guys, especially Arch, very highly recruited, you know he's got talent. He doesn't want to sit, and it just, you can only imagine where would he potentially go. And then with Ewers, it's kind of like, all right, now you're going to get a full season. But his issue each of the last couple of years has been injuries. He got injured last year, and that's when Hudson Card was able to come in. This year, obviously, he got injured, and Malik Murphy was able to take over. Can he stay healthy? And if he is staying healthy, do you have a QB competition coming into training camp?
Yeah, I think there's absolutely that competition if Arch stays. I don't think it's, if Arch decides to stay, I don't think it's a guarantee that Ewers starts next year. I think he's the starter going into camp.
Yeah.
But I look at that as a very similar situation to what we went through with McNamara and McCarthy. Yeah. I think there could be a couple games to start the year, maybe not their start of the season next year, but where one of them starts one game and one starts the next, and you kind of just get the feel for where you think you want to go. But, I mean, they start out pretty tough next year, if I'm not mistaken. I'll look it up here to make sure, but I think we play them right away next year. So
talk about a week 0 matchup. My goodness gracious.
Yeah, here we go. 2024 Texas.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, while he is looking that up, shout out to Texas for pulling out the W. They are ranked 7th at 9-1, and like I alluded to earlier, they have got to keep winning. And it could be a major blow with Jonathan Brooks being out. But you have to believe that Sarkisian is going to get these boys running. I mean, we saw what happened, how they were able to perform after losing to OU. And did you get that schedule?
Yeah, I got it here. So the first two games, Colorado State at home versus Colorado State, then in the Big House.
Oh, come on.
Saturday, September 7th.
Oof. Good God.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
gonna be interesting. Yeah. Let's see if they can do that. Oof. Man, oh man, oh man. See, part of me hates that this season is about to be over, but then part of me is like, daggone, some of these matchups for next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens. But again, Texas 9-1, 7th in the country, still alive, still doing it. We'll see what happens with the running back position. Lastly, we have to talk about my squad. Okay, we got to talk about my team. It was a fun. Well, it was a fun game watching the replay. Mid-game,
once you knew it was locked in, it was a lot more fun.
Yeah. Man, oh my goodness, watching this game, and first and foremost, I'm gonna do this because I if I see a player play his butt off, especially when I was not expecting it, I'm going to give them credit, even though they play for Duke. I got to shout out Grayson Loftus.
Yeah.
Pretty pedestrian numbers, 16 to 28, 129, and 3 touchdowns. This guy right here, we didn't know it was a game time decision if, Riley Leonard was going to play. Once we knew Riley was not in the game, this freshman came in. And I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
We gave him everything he can handle. We hit him. We rushed him. We were deflecting his passes, everything. But he just never quit. He kept coming after us. And he took this team all the way down to the wire. And late in this ball game, Alex, I know I was texting you. But when he threw that touchdown pass, I pulled out my inner Alec. And I was like, see, every year they do this to me. I can't stand this team.
Yeah.
I was done. I was livid because it was the same problems that we've been having. To your point, we keep having these high-scoring games, and our defense just is running out of gas. And you can start to see it in the third quarter. First and foremost, Duke is a very good running team, exceptionally good with Riley Leonard, but without him, they are still able to run, and they ran all over us. But this is why you have a Drake May. This is why you have it. 28 completions for 342 yards and a touchdown. The interception had me frustrated. I'm not going to lie, because sometimes I feel like there's passes where you're just like, dude, you don't have to do that. But then there's ones where he's getting twisted and falling down, and all of a sudden he just throws a dart to the running back. He runs up and scores a touchdown. And you're just like,
It's that same thing of like the oh my god and the oh my god, like
right.
There's every team has a player like that.
Yeah. So shout out to him. But as a running back, I cannot take credit away from my running game, man. Omarion Hampton, I've been talking about him all year long. Over 30 carries, almost 170 on the ground, and a touchdown. I am convinced that is helping Drake May so much. Having that running game, it was kind of like with Sam Howell when he had Javonte Williams and the aforementioned Michael Carter. When they had those guys, both those guys were 1,000-yard rushers. Both those guys were balling out, and it helped take the pressure off of Sam Howell. Think about it, Ron Rivera. If we give our quarterback a running game, maybe he'll take pressure up. But you know what? I'm going to stop. All right. That's a college show. But look, what did you say? You were talking to me, took us double overtime to do it. Duke is no slouch, but what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, like to me, Duke is a very good football team. I know they're not ranked. I know they're 6-4. But this is still a dangerous football team. Like you said, Loftus took it to double overtime. But man, the ability for your offense to just keep grinding, keep pushing, and keep scoring. I mean, Tez Walker went off. That was like, I was flipping between games, and it seemed like every time I flipped in to the game, it was either a big run for Hampton or a big catch for Walker. It was just like one or the other. It was so interesting to watch, just like I said, bouncing from game to game. And I think the break from 2 weeks from now to the bowl game, I think that's going to do you guys wonders. And I think you're going to see a different UNC team come bowl time because that defense is going to have weeks to rest.
Yes.
So I think you guys are a dangerous team in December, January there.
Yeah, and I'm hoping so. And look, we all know that we are living on borrowed time with Drake May. So I just want to see him go out on top, doing, the best that he can. Games like this against our rival, you know what I mean? These are the type of games that you have to get it done. And you want a guy like Drake May to do it because you always have a shot. When they scored, I was like, there's too much time on the clock. I fully trust Drake to get this thing done. And he did. He drove us down the field, got into overtime with the field goal, and then obviously went back and forth in overtime. And it still came down to them missing a 2-point conversion, because I'm not going to lie. When they scored, I was like, all right, here we go. Third overtime. Then I was like, oh, he missed it? Oh, okay. All right, I'll take it. Oh, man. I'll take it. I'm glad we got the W, but yeah. Took a couple years off my life, Alex. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that's one of those games that'll do that to you for sure.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yo, so ladies and gentlemen, we have got to move on. That was the Week 11 college football scoreboard. Definitely tune in. There's a number of games going on this week into this weekend on Saturday.